I want all of you to do something for me. I want you to take yourselves back to when you were kids, and I want you to remember the wonder and the awe you felt the very first time you saw a magic show. Now let's all get a little bit older and remember the disappointment you felt when you realized it was all a trick. Just a mirror or a particularly bendy lady. The moment you realized that you were never getting your Hogwarts acceptance letter. Basically, when you realized the rabbit was in the hat the whole time. It took me 20 years to find that wonder again. 20 years to find that curiosity. But eventually I did. Eventually I found real magic. To find the source of this real magic, we have to go all the way back, all the way to the early 20th century. At that stage, if you chose to do physics, you were insane. If you wanted to make your parents proud, you became an engineer. Physics was done, dusted, over with. The fat lady was warming up the vocal cords. Even Lord Kelvin, the man who came up with everything we know in thermal physics, the man who coined the word thermodynamics, is attributed as having said, "There is nothing new to discover in physics." You have to admire the arrogance of that. But eventually, a few new people came along, men like Werner Heisenberg and Erwin Schrödinger. They were real wizards. And what they came up with changed the world as we knew it. It turned everything upside down. What they came up with was quantum mechanics. And I'd like to use the magic that you all know to explain the real magic that these men came up with. So, let's talk quantum entanglement. Say I took a rabbit and I put it in the hat. But in with the rabbit, I put a vial of poison that has a 50-50 chance of going off. Equally likely that it will or it won't, the second I put the rabbit down. So, now it may have killed the rabbit, it may not. Both are equally likely. Quantum physics says that since we can't know, both solutions are equally valid. The rabbit is not alive or dead. According to quantum physics, the rabbit is alive and dead at the same time. So with a hat and a rabbit, I've created a zombie bunny. But it gets crazier than that again. Say we add to this situation another rabbit and another hat. And we put this rabbit in this hat. And we put another jar of poison in with this rabbit too. But this one has one slightly different rule. It has to be the exact opposite of whatever goes on in there. If that one goes off, this one doesn't. If that one doesn't go off, this one does. So we'll put this one down here. So now, in this hat, and that hat, we have two rabbits that are dead and alive at the same time, but they have to be opposite. If he's dead, then he's alive. If he's alive, then he's dead. So they've been in those hats long enough. Let's see how they're getting on. So, we take him out, and he's fine, he's grand, the bunny lives, it's all wonderful. Except, because they have to be opposite, the moment I've seen that this rabbit's alive, that one has to be dead, and I have to be a horrible bunny murderer. But despite the rampant animal cruelty, something wonderful has still happened here. When I've found out that he's alive, that one instantly becomes dead. It wouldn't matter if I was on the other side of the stage. It wouldn't matter if I was back home in Coolock. It wouldn't matter if I was on the other side of the universe. The moment I see that this one's alive, this one is immediately, instantly dead. That sounds incredible on its own, but when you think of light, light is the fastest thing in the universe. Nothing can travel faster than light. Light takes 8 minutes to get from the sun to us. But if I was at the sun with one of these rabbits, two things will have happened. One, I'll be on fire. And two, when I see that that rabbit is alive, that one will instantly become dead. 8 minutes faster than the light can get from there. Instantaneously. That's incredible. It also lets you wonder, what else in the universe is connected? What other two things are connected with these entanglement, sudden changes? Einstein hated this. He called it spooky action at a distance. And it was an Irishman called John Stuart Bell, a man from Belfast, who proved it was true. He proved this incredible, real magic. But we can go further down the rabbit hole. Specifically, we can go down Alice's rabbit hole. Quantum physics is so insane, so mental, so constantly counterintuitive, that we've had to start naming aspects of quantum physics after Alice in Wonderland characters. So then we have the quantum Cheshire cat. The Cheshire Cat was famous because it could disappear and leave its grin behind. That's what Alice said. A cat without a grin is something I've seen, but a grin without a cat is the most curious thing I've ever seen in my life. So what if we could do that with objects? What if we could take a bar of chocolate and take the taste away, and in one hand have a chocolate bar, and in the other have just some region of taste not connected to the chocolate bar? Or what if we could take a bright red ball, and until we were done with it, we could take its color away, and in one hand have just a region of color, and the other hand have the object, until we were done with what we needed, and cover them again to get our red ball again. This was theorized by a professor in Tel Aviv in the 90s. When he came up with it, the general reaction was, that's a lovely theory, but please, grown-ups are talking. But it was proven earlier this year when a group managed to take a subatomic particle called a neutron and split it from its magnetic moment, which is how susceptible it is to a magnetic field. They actually did this. They took a color from a ball. And that is also unbelievable, real magic. But the question there is, this is all incredible, this is all fascinating, this is all magic, but how does it apply to me? It's all out there, it's in a lab. What if I told you you had this real magic in your pockets right now? And that's called quantum tunneling. We'll need one of the rabbits again. Say I took this rabbit and I hurled it into the audience. I won't, but say I did. What would happen is the bunny would bounce off somebody, because that's what happens. Objects bounce off things. Except they don't. Not all the time. Say I took a quantum particle. Say I took something like an electron, something that makes up an atom, and say I sent that at a barrier. Well, there is a small but significant chance that that electron can just tunnel through, ghost through the particle, like it didn't even see the wall, like the wall wasn't even there. It doesn't tunnel through exactly. That's kind of a misnomer. It just ghosts through. It just goes through. It just is through. To hell with your ideas of how walls are supposed to work. Now, I said this was close. It's in the sun. It's how nuclear fusion can happen. Two atoms in the sun that shouldn't be able to find themselves inside one another can suddenly randomly tunnel inside one another, where they fuse, and there they can give out heat and light. So magic is there if you just look up, but not directly up. But I said it was close, didn't I? I said it was in your pockets. Everyone these days has a smartphone in their pockets. And the flash drive, the bit that lets you keep your videos, your pictures, your Miley Cyrus, it's just that one song, I promise. Well, all of that is made possible through quantum tunneling. A flash drive is made of a load of little components called transistor. And usually transistors are just electronic switches. But in a flash drive, they're capped with a little barrier that is so thick, even electrons can't usually go through. But say you want to write some data. Say you want something new on your phone. Well, then you can give the electrons a bit of a kick, and suddenly they can come in like a wrecking ball. I mean, they now have enough energy to travel inside the transistor where they get stuck. And whether or not something is stuck decides your ones and your zeros. And your ones and your zeros are what make up your Word documents and your PowerPoints, your cat pictures and your selfies. So just think of that when you log onto Facebook for the 3 millionth time today. Think of that real magic that exists in your phone. Think of that real magic that exists throughout the universe, in the tiniest things, in the biggest things, in everything. There is real magic permeating every aspect of the universe. Because it's my favorite thing about science, is that magic tricks lose their luster the moment you understand how they work. But science only gets more impressive. Thank you very much.